Good afternoon. Letter 95, Dear Robin Jay. Um, the story is I'm around 25, 26, 27, 28, got married at 29. Right around that time, I was working at the electronics place, and somebody in my family, because my band had kind of disbanded, somebody in my family said, did you ever think about doing singing telegrams? So I said, I had a phone at my desk at work. So I looked in the yellow pages back in the day and looked up singing telegrams. It said see entertainment. I saw entertainment. And there was only like one or two. And there was one in Ronkonkoma. And I was working in Ronkonkoma. So, 1980 something, 85 or something, six, seven. I called this guy named Tony answers. That's a whole show, Tony. Named his son Elvis. Beautiful. And Tony, I says, hi, I'm interested in doing singing telegrams. You need any help? He's like, oh, yes, please, come on down. So I went down, stopped on the way home from work at his house. He had a Brooklyn blown out, statue yard house on Motor Parkway, busy road, Motor Parkway, uh, in Ronkonkoma. And so I stopped there. I walked in. He didn't even ask me to sing Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Di, Do. He just said, how much you want? And I hadn't thought of it. I'm like, I don't know, 40 bucks. He says, okay. Now I have to wonder now, how much he would have said yes to. I said, 40 bucks, to sing to somebody at their birthday, a singing telegram. So he said, great, took my information. He said, I'll call you. So that was cool. And now I'm like, well, what the hell am I going to do? And he says, sometimes it's a pink gorilla they want, and I have the pink gorilla suit. I says, oh, great. I says, yeah, sure. So, sooner or later he called me and he says, yeah, I got one, in so and so, on so and so day, this time, somebody's, I don't know, pick anyone. It was 500 of them. Uh, Somebody's 50th birthday, from the to the husband, from the wife, and at a big outside party, they want the gorilla. I'm like, oh, geez, all right. So, my mind's racing a mile a minute. What am I going to do? Making stuff up as I'm on my way there. And I don't remember the first one, to be honest with you. I don't remember the last one. Uh, but I went in, I put on the gorilla suit, I sang happy birthday, I goofed around, trying to sit on people's laps, wearing a pink tutu, God bless me, and somebody had to do it. And they were happy. Gave me a $20 tip. I made 60 bucks in 5 minutes. And I was back in the car. Felt like I robbed somebody if I had known what that felt like. And it was amazing. He was happy. I was happy. Dropped the suit off. I had to pick up like 150 bucks or something for the thing. I took my 40, took my $20 tip and gave him the 100. Yeah, he made a lot of money, but he was advertising. It was his business, and I just got to go play. It was cool with me. So for the next 20 years, I did this for Tony and his wife and Elvis, who grew from a baby Elvis to like a 12-year-old Elvis the last time I probably saw him. Uh, Beautiful people. And, they loved me. I made them look good. And, I did 500 singing telegrams in my career there until they went out of business. They did predominantly Chippendales. They hired out Chippendales dancers for, you know, brides parties, nights and stuff, whatever they call them, and bachelorette parties. And sometimes if the place wouldn't accept the Chippendales, they'd say, well, could we, how about a singing gorilla? And that's where that came into life. And then once he started advertising, Pink sung, I says, and I don't know when I figured it out, but when I called the people, because he gave me their contact information, and I had to contact the person that was surprising the person that the Gorillagram was for, they would tell me the name and happy birthday, and they'd say, oh, could you say this or could you say that, could you say this, or why don't you say this? So I says, you know what? Give me all their information. I'll write a song. I'm a poet. So I would, get this guy named Joe, blah, 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 blah. And I just started, I did it to the tune of a crazy little thing called Love. I don't know why it was on my mind at the time. And Larry, my pianist, plays that at, drop of a hat. So I went to Larry's house and recorded him playing a crazy little thing called Love on piano. And then I would take that cassette, and every singing telegram I would write, this girl called Jill, she lives over the hill, happy birthday from your family here to say we love you. Just BSing off the top of my, but I would write it. I would have the time to write it. Rarely did I do that live, but I would write a song about the person, and Crazy Little Thing Called Love is a long song, 3 verses and a chorus. And boy, what fun that was. And I wrote 500 masterpieces. The people used to look at it and say, how the hell did you know this? And how the hell did you do this? I just enjoyed it so much. It was crazy. I just fell right into it. This guy called Bob. Yeah, he looks like a slob, but he knows where everything is. Well, it's crazy. It's just easy. And I owe Queen, Larry and I would joke, and I owe Queen, thousands, but, me and Freddie are cool with that. And I once did a sing a telegram for 100-year-old lady, which was adorable. Wrote a little song about her and her, 88, great grandkids, and put all their names in there. I'd get all the names in, everything in there. Their likes, their dislikes, funny stories, nicknames, plans. They were amazed. One time I did a cop. I had to do a cop because Tony had a fake cop outfit. And boy, it's pretty scary wearing a fake cop outfit with a fake gun, because you kind of get, fake balls. And I didn't like it. I couldn't get rid of it fast enough. I wanted to pull somebody over on the way there. Human nature. So, but I went to do a cop at like one of the beverage places over Waverly Avenue in Patchogue over there, one of the big ones, and Budweiser or whoever it was, and for one of the ladies in the office, and I set it up with the person who wanted to surprise her that I was going, because I called the person and we had days to plan this. The plan was I was going in as a cop to sing to this young lady a happy birthday singing telegram. And the guy says, what do you want to do? I says, dude, I want to go in there as a cop, with her license plate number, and how'd this guitar end up in your car, and then just go into the song. He's like, you could do that? I says, dude, we just did it. So I wrote a song about her, and I had an inside person in her office who I got the message to for a cue. I would point at something, and he would start the music, because the radio, we snuck the radio in the back door when I got there. And I come to the front of the office door as a cop. Now, the office door was at the bottom floor of a 2-story foyer, open foyer that had a railing around it, 50 feet or on each square side of it. So there was a whole second floor of people looking down from offices upstairs, and all the people on the bottom were out of their offices. I knock on the door as the cop. I have the guitar behind, my folk guitar behind my back. Not that I was going to play it, but it was a prop. And somebody lets me in the office, and there's 6 ladies working there. I says, Who's the owner of the white Toyota license plate number 2JY, blah, blah, blah. And I see her push her chair back and look over nervously and say, totally freaked out. Uh, uh, I think that's mine. I says, can I have a word with you, ma'am? Totally in nut job cop act here, enjoying the crap out of it. I says, do I told her that? She's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I says, can you tell me where you were last night? She says, well, I was with my boyfriend. I says, so while you were shacking up with your boyfriend, and a look of panic is on her face, mine too, because I'm making it up as I'm going along. I says, while you were shacking up with your boyfriend, I said, how did this, like, John Levitz, how did this, I whipped the guitar out from around my back, end up in your car? She looked like she saw a ghost. She's like, she couldn't comprehend. She's like, officer, I never saw that guitar. I don't know what, she's losing it. I give the guy the signal, and the song starts, a crazy little thing called love. And I'm fake strumming the guitar, and I break into this girl called Susie. Boy, she's having a woozy. A cop walked in, just here to say happy birthday from Tony. Got you, didn't we, baby? And I just went into a whole song about her. And she's looking at me with the most weirdest expression any humans ever have. She didn't know what the hell was going on. And it was perfect. And I sang the whole long song, the whole crowd clapping up on the top thing. But I guess by the end, she kind of figured it out, but she really didn't know where the hell she was. And I skipped out of there in 10 minutes, blew her mind, blew the whole place's mind, had a blast, made, 45, maybe a 10, 15, $20 tip, who knows, made $50. I could have did this at lunch during my job, which I started to run into schedule conflicts because, I had a 9 to 5. I was working originally when this started at the electronics place uh, in the foreign trade zone over by the Islip MacArthur Airport. And, if he set it up, if I had any leeway, I invented doing this stuff at lunch. I had an hour lunch. I was in Ronkonkoma. I can be anywhere on the island in 20 minutes, BA. And I'd fly at lunch. I'd fly somewhere to another office, throw on a gorilla, which I already picked up the night before, or a cowboy hat or a cop hat or whatever, and I would go do a singing telegram and race back to work. So I was double dipping. It was very cool, but very nerve wracking too. But I did it 500 times, and I did that one for the 100-year-old lady. You know what she said to me? She said, I'll see you next year. I didn't see you next year, but who gets to hear a 100-year-old say that? I do. And adorable. And I did every kind of imaginable. There are some videos back in the day. One that was very funny in particular that I lost, but I know somebody has it somewhere. I was doing the pink gorilla in a Howard Johnson's for like a waiter or a waitress, or a waiter or somebody. And as people are walking by, other waiters are walking by, one walks by, he gets too close to the gorilla, and I fake hump him. It was just an impromptu, thought I'd get away with it, and I did get away with it. It slayed. People thought it was hysterical. But that's the problem when you're inside a pink gorilla suit. You're invisible. I could moonwalk. I can't moonwalk without the pink gorilla suit, but I can in the gorilla suit. I'll do anything. And over the top. And that was fun. And in the middle of that, um, I I did the Batman that I told you about last time, that first Batman party for a friend's 4-year-old. That kid was 4 years old when I did my first Batman. And I saw that kid when he was 24. He might even be 34 by now. And when he was 24, I was still doing them. And I did that for, I don't know, 25, 30 years, I think. Started around the time Rob was born. And if you see the pictures on this video here, I eventually had bat children in the upper left, my adorable sons, Robin, Batja. And then the big Batman picture with my brother from another mother, James. uh, from the place I worked with the challenge. He was Robin, I was Batman. He would call me Batman on a regular day without the Batman suit on. Um, he just saw Batman when he saw me. And conversely, I was at one of these events at the place, and the CEO of the company came up to me and had a work question about, work. And he comes up and I relayed that to Gomez, and Gomez said he didn't even see the Batman outfit, did he? He said no, because he didn't. He just needed the information and he got it. Didn't even acknowledge that I was in a Batman suit. That was very cool. But both the opposites ended that. And then James called me Batman without the Batman suit. He just loved. He would get so excited that Batman would come to the family fall day year after year. He cared more if Batman was coming than if his parents were coming. A couple of kids were like that, Adrian too, and boy, he was my partner. I put that red robin on his forehead and his green mask. He was just in the palm of my hand, and it was just so much fun to share that with him, and teach him, we can be silly, we don't have to be serious all the time. We're Batmen. And below that picture, I used to bring all the other costumes. I'd borrow them, and other staff people would be in these other costumes, so that the children got to enjoy all the characters every year. And that's below. Pretty sure that's me as Simba with my two babies. Uh, people I know still go up to people in costumes and whisper, "Bob, Bob, is that you?" John Mahoney. And there's me as Spider Man doing some balloon swords. Uh, so I did that Batman for the person, and I made $40 in 40 minutes. The first Batman in Riverhead, and I was like, "Oh, this is good." And then I found a Selden costume uh, store that used to be by Taizan, and they went out of business eventually. But for a couple of years, they were there just at this time. And they had a Batman suit, and I could rent it with the option to buy it, which was bizarre, which I did. And a couple of times I rented it, uh, and then I bought it, and I'm on my first. I went through three of them eventually. I had my first Batman suit, and I tried to advertise a little, but how do you do that unless you're going to go all out? And then I looked in the Yankee Trader one day, and under family in the back entertainment, there was a couple that offered costume characters. And so I called one. It was Giggles the clown in Patchogue, a big Nordic woman who was Giggles the clown, and she needed help. She was getting a lot of Barneys, and I thought she meant Barney from the Flintstones. Boy, was I wrong. There's the big purple dinosaur, and I did, out of my 5,000 children's parties I did in my career, probably 2,000 of them were Barneys. Uh, I'm sorry, big purple dinosaur. And so I started doing big purple dinosaurs for her. Once a weekend, twice a week, a couple of times a month. And the feet sucked. You had to drag your feet. You couldn't lift your feet up. And I found out through the years, most time the Achilles heels of the costumes were the heels of the costumes. Uh, and sometimes the feet cut into the bottom of your ankles, and you just gored yourself, during the whole gig. And I started working for her, and then I saw another ad from a guy way out in Cutchogue named Kevin, like in the on what's that, some cartoon. I forget the cartoon. Kevin. Uh, oh yeah, that crazy kid. He had a nemesis named Kevin. Anyway, Kevin, pain in the ass from Cutchogue. He had three Power Ranger costumes, and I don't know, red, white, and black, and then he eventually had like four or five of them. And he was had an entertainment company. I was doing this on weekends, and also squeezing them in during lunch. I did many an Elmo during lunch, you know, because I just did it. I was a maniac. I would be prepared the night before to the hilt, you know, and sometimes it was a pain in the ass. I had to do 15 minutes of a clown and then 45 minutes of Batman, or 15 minutes of a clown and then 45 minutes of the Power Ranger, or 15 minutes of the clown and then 45 minutes of Spider Man, which was a pain in the ass. I'd rather just do an hour of either. Um, and I wasn't a willing clown at first. Uh, you know, Batman, I was the biggest Batman fan when the TV show came out in 68 or whatever. You know, we had to take a shower at night. There was six of us, one bathroom, but I was the quickest shower if Batman was coming on. Because I wanted to be in front of the TV before it started. I remember that. The water hits you on the head. By the time it gets to your feet, you're out of there. Don't try that at home, and or do. And I was the biggest Batman fan, and religiously, you know, every week after years, my dad just say, "How many times you seen this one?" And I didn't care. I'll see it 1,000 times. And then to actually get to play Batman and have the kids adore you, that was just a home run. And plus, to invent all your goofy stuff just to entertain people, that was a home run. And to get paid pretty good to do it, that was a home run. So I had that nice little side thing going on for years, 25 years, and so many stories. Uh, we'll continue later. Batman out.